So today's lesson is about a game that your child can play, and this game will help them with their very basic number skills. So if they're struggling with addition, or if they like playing games, this is a great game for them to learn. And what I usually do with students is get them to tell me the pairs of numbers that add up to 6, and as they call them out, I write them down. I encourage them to find things systematically, so I would steer them towards going 0 plus 6, 1 plus 5, 2 plus 4, and so on. And we'll just write all the pairs, so 3 and 3. And we can also continue the pattern 4 and 2, which is 2 and 4 backwards. So we can have them forwards and backwards, but what we want are all of the pairs. And then what I normally do with one of my students, that's me, and this is one of my students, and I'll say the number 2. So this is how the game goes. I'll say 2, and what they have to do is say the number that adds with my number to equal 6. And if you leave the numbers on the board to start with, they can actually just search through the list and find the number 4. And I'll just play the game. I'll say my number, and also I'll pretend to be the student and say their answer. 5, 1, 6, 0, 2, 3, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 1, 5, and so on. And I'll play this game for anything up to 4 or 5 minutes, or until they start to lose concentration. And you notice here that when I said 2 and they answered 3, now they might have just gone 2, 3 in the same way that you might go 5, 6, like just counting the next number along. That sometimes happens with this game. It adds a little bit of a fun element because it's funny when it happens. And what it also tells me is that they might not, it's either this that is happening, they're just saying the number 3 as if they were counting, or they actually don't know that it's 2 and 4 that adds up to 6. So I keep testing them on this until I get a quick time response, or a quick response to the number that I've said, which was this one here, and they came back with 4 almost immediately. So that means that they know that it's 2 and 4 that add up to 6 now. In other words, they know that 4 is the number that adds with 2. And I'll come back to that number 2 again a bit later in the game and test them on the 2s, a number of 2s, just like I've done here, 3 or 4 of them in a row, and listen to how long it takes them to come up with the correct response. So the idea is that as soon as they've said their number, you say the next number, as long as their answer is correct. If they got the wrong answer, then all you have to do is just wait, make sure they understand what you're waiting for, and then just continue the game. And what I do also with my students, once they've actually learnt this game, and it's usually in the second week, it can be in the first week that you play it with them, or the first lesson, I'll throw in questions like 6 minus what number equals 5, 1 plus what number equals 6, 2 is equal to 6 minus what number, just something like that. 3 or 4 questions similar to this, and towards the end of the game, and have these spaced apart with a couple of instances of me just saying the number on its own. So I might go 6 minus something equals 5, then I'll go 2, 3, 4, and then 1 plus something equals 6, and so on. So what you're getting them to do is break away from a highly focused task to actually listen to what you said, interpret it correctly, and then come up with the correct answer, which in fact is really just asking for that other missing number, but it's worded in a different way. So they learn a couple of things from doing that, and I think it's a useful thing. I find that it helps students, this game, immensely. I highly recommend it if your child is struggling with maths. If they're really struggling, a good place to start with is the number 3, and just go 3, 0 plus 3, get them to do this for you. It's 1 plus 2, 2 plus 1, and 3 plus 0. Get them to actually come up with the combinations. And there's only 4 numbers involved in the game, and they learn the game very quickly. And if they don't already know the numbers 0 and 3, 1 and 2 add up to 3, they very quickly will learn them. And then you can move on to the numbers that add up to 4, and so on. I tend to play this game once a week with my students who come to see me once a week, and after starting on the number 6, I'll test them a week later on the number 6, and then move on to the number 7, and then the following week move on to the number 8, and so on. And you can always chop and change and come back once you get into the bigger numbers. And I go into the teens, 12, 13, 14. You can go up to whatever number you like, but a good place to start at easy numbers that they get confident when playing the game with, and not going to big numbers too quickly. So that's the game, and these pairs of numbers are called addition bonds, and it's quite important for just doing basic addition that students actually know these. And if they don't know them, what you'll tend to find them doing is counting on their fingers, because if they don't know these ones, like 1 and 5 equals 6, it's unlikely they're going to know that 9 and 7 is 16, kind of thing. So this is all leading up. Well, this is just really building on very basic number skills, and it's with the game, so it makes it a lot more fun and enjoyable, and it's also fun for you as the parent when you play the game as well. So that's about it for this lesson.